Member of Knesset and former IDF Chief of Staff Benny Gantz informed me that he has been unable to form a government. Member of Knesset Gantz is the second candidate who has tried to form a government and failed, after the outgoing Prime Minister, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, also failed to form a government. This is the first time in the history of the State of Israel, Mr. Speaker, that we have reached this situation. I wish to remind the honourable gentleman that this miserable political result came in the wake of a second consecutive election forced on citizens of Israel after the 21st Knesset voted to dissolve itself. The implication of this, as the law stipulates, is that starting today and for 21 days, the decision on who will have the task of forming the government is in the hands of members of Knesset. And here I wish, with your permission, Mr. Speaker, to appeal to each and every one of the members of Knesset. This is a difficult time in Israeli history. With the inauguration of the 21st Knesset came the 22nd Knesset. I called on you to put the sword of the elections aside and to sweep up the dirt. I implored you, saying that political calculations can no longer be your only compass, and that not only governance is required, but also a mentality of sovereignty, of statesmanship, responsibility towards the whole of our dear nation with all its tribes and parts, the whole of our dear nation residing in our land, and that you, members of Knesset, are their leaders. There are today former members of Knesset who are sitting at home and perhaps regretting their decision to dissolve the Knesset. The nation has shown you a red card and taken some of the players off the pitch. Let nobody be under any illusion. This disruptive politics must end. Your political fate is not more important than the fate of the old woman in the hospital right now, of children with special needs, of disabled people, of victims of violence in the Arab sector, of residents of the South, Jews, Arabs, Haredi and secular, all of whom need protection, and women who need shelters. In the next 21 days, you will not be a blocks or parties. You will each have to do your own accounting and consult your own consciences, and you will have to answer one question, just one question. What is my duty to the State of Israel and its citizens? Mr. Speaker, good luck. Thank you, Mr. President, citizens of Israel. First of all, I wish to thank you, Mr. President, for having chosen not to sit in the gallery, but to get onto the pitch and to do everything you can to ensure that a government be formed. On the 24th of June, about 3 months before the previous elections, I called on all party leaders to work to cancel the elections. I told them that another round of elections would be a disaster for the State of Israel. Nothing would change. Some people sneered. Each side explained that its own victory in the elections would be stellar, and this time the public will vote clearly. Unfortunately, the elections were not cancelled, and indeed, nothing changed. What happened in the April elections happened in the September elections. And if, God forbid, we fail to overcome this challenge, the exact same thing will happen in the third elections, and the fourth ones, and the fifth ones. Mr. President, I dwell within my own nation. Nobody wants another election. Residents of the Gaza envelope and the south do not want fresh elections. Doctors, soldiers, and certainly nurses do not want fresh elections. Small business owners, farmers, old people, disabled people, nobody wants more elections. Parents who are hoping to send their children to special holiday school over Hanukkah don't want fresh elections. As Knesset Speaker, I tell you with certainty, most Knesset members don't want fresh elections. Mr. President, perhaps someone will say, what's he nattering on about sick people and disabled people and old people? There's no real disagreement between the major parties. The real disagreement is diplomatic. Really? Just 3 days ago, the US Secretary of State came out with an important announcement about the lawfulness of Jewish settlement in Judea and Samaria. Take note, the leaders of the parties who supported the announcement represent 96 of 120 members of Knesset. In this respect too, it's possible to form a broad government, and we can deal with the political and security challenges facing us together. We have 21 days to go. We, all of us, Mr. President, you addressed members of Knesset, and I want to address involved citizens, party activists, anyone who cares. Speak to your representatives everywhere you can. Tell them clearly we do not want elections. We want you to sit down, to talk, to compromise. For us. To use a phrase Menachem Begin said, to use a turn of phrase, adapt the phrase, unity is unavoidable. Mr. President, citizens of Israel, I believe this with all my heart. And as far as I'm concerned, for my part, I will do everything so that in the next 3 weeks, we will manage to form a broad government, a strong government that will return to work for citizens of Israel. Thank you very much.